Hello and welcome to Retro Cars Reborn. I'm Lee, and in this episode we're going to do some more work on the Capri. So I started to rebuild the rear spring hanger. Well, I'm going to say last year. That's all I remember of it. And basically we need to finish that. So let's just do it. So far off camera, all I've done is clean up the entire area that's going to get welded, and I've dropped down some weld through primer. So my first plan is we've got to recreate this piece which was originally there. As you can see how battered it was and the amount of plates it's had welded to it. We're going to make it out of this piece of steel that's here, which is quite nice, but I'm going to just have to straighten this up a bit more, I think. So this is it so far. We've got this little nodule knocked in it, which is the same as this piece. See there, a lot more prominent than you think, and there's two of them. I've started to knock them in, literally by hitting a flat piece of steel underneath. That was just done by wedging literally the edge of this ratchet underneath and just hitting it round it. So to build this piece here, my plan is to get this stainless steel piece of pipe, and because as you can see it's the same and it fits in there, it's pretty much the same thing. What you do is you cut the pipe in half, set it underneath, and it allows you to hit the metal down into the pipe, thus creating that little dimple. So I shall continue. So we've made that little indent now, it's there, and we did that, like I said, we got one of these. This is just a stainless steel leg from IKEA and they don't fall off the top. Literally just cut it down to make the gap so that it can be knocked into shape, and it's come out pretty well. So now we've got to try and make this raised area here another pressing into the metal. I'm going to go and double check to see what it looks like on the intact one before we start whacking it. So I keep taking it off and putting it back on, trying to get it to look more like what it's supposed to do. They definitely look better now, along with that, to mimic this and to mimic that. I've even got the hole in the centre now. This one's clearly been pulled outwards, and it should have been flat. Yes, it's this great slant inwards that's going to be hard to get, because as soon as you start battering this piece inwards, obviously it bends this line here, and that line has got to stay flush to run with the rest of it. But yes, it's definitely starting to look like that panel now. So I think I'm pretty much ready to weld it on now. That indented piece that goes in here, it actually looks like that. So it's like that across there and up there. So that means this one is damaged. It shouldn't be all the way down here. It only sits in that small little space there. So yes, let's weld it on now. And what I'll do is I'm going to batter that piece in once it's all welded on. It can't move because it won't be able to warp it as much. So we're going to start off with spot welding this across here. Let's check what spot welder's on. So basically, if it isn't clean metal, it just doesn't operate correctly. So that's 2 at the back. The inner one is further in. Yeah, that noise, that brrr noise. That means that some of the metal was fine, and some of it wasn't. One. Probably get another 2 or 3 in there. Yeah, that should be enough to hold it on. And that basically means now these can come off up. There's no need for them. It's on there. And that's why I love the spot welder so much. I get them right on the edge now. This one, it's probably not going to like it. No, it's alright. And basically that's how fast the spot welder is for getting in the sill pieces. So now we can upright the car again and we can manually weld these pieces in. So that's the rest of it plug welded in. I ground the end of that one and I ground that one down completely. Well, I say completely, nearly completely, just to see if they will be invisible afterwards. And well, yeah, they look like they're going to be able to be ground down completely flat. So yeah, happy with that. I'm going to grind it back and then we can have a look at making the other intricate little pieces. So there's this piece here that flicks out, and then there's this piece that goes over here, and then finally there's this back piece, and that will fully enclose this square part here, and that flick piece that comes around here basically protects where the leaf spring goes in, and then this will be done. Oh, and then we can start moving on to these stupid little holes. But yeah, I'd be so happy because that's both front floors done. That one just needs sanding back and painting again because it's got some flash rust coming through, but we'll treat that before we paint it. Oh, it's just going to be so sick. There's some repairs to do in there, but I can't believe we're nearing the end of it, pretty much the whole thing being welded. So I've basically made up the next plate. As you can see, not very complicated at all. I'm just marking where I'm going to do the 2 spot welds, well 4 spot welds. I'm going to do 2 there and 2 there, because the rest will be spot welded across there, just like I did with this plate. And then all that would be left to do is drill this nice big hole. I mean, you can, obviously this one's made nice and flush by being pressed out. I don't have that tool, so I'm not really that bothered about it being pressed out. As long as there's a hole in it, we're all good. Just chuck the light on, and that's the spot welds in. I did actually forget to turn the spot welder up to go through the thick material, which I thought was quite funny. Definitely need to get a clean in there again, or chuck a wire brush on a drill down there before we go any further, and then we'll seal it. But I plan on, because we've put a hole in it anyway, when I come to cover the floor, I'm going to spray it in here anyway. So all in this box section will end up with it all inside anyway. So yes, looking good. Just need to get these plug welds on there. Okay, so I don't think that has turned out too well. It's skew width, because it should be like that, but you know, it's underneath, nobody cares. Don't think it's too bad. Right then, so we're going to build this piece now. So we're gonna get our other template out and get it built. We'll chuck it in and we'll see how it turns out. Well, it's been a couple of days. As you can hear, it's now raining. I made this back piece. I've spot welded it in there. Just chucked some beads down there to hold it in place. I've got to weld it across the top and weld it across the bottom, but it's in and it's looking good. But I'm not going to finish this piece off yet, because I now want to build effectively this piece here. And it's just like a little piece of protection for the leaf spring. As you can see, it is a nice big flat piece with a curve in it. Now, to build this curve, I've gone and bought myself a shrinker stretcher. Not an expensive one at all. This was about, I believe I paid about £65 for it. I've done most of the modifications that you can find online to actually get them to work, because apparently it doesn't matter whether you buy one for 50 quid or £300, if it's this shaped version, they are terrible. And I didn't know that when I bought it, so we've done all the modifications to it. We'll see if it works. So we're just going to make a template of this piece out of cardboard, and then I will show you the shrinker in operation. Well, actually we're going to stretch the metal for that piece, and we'll show you it in operation and how to build this piece. It shouldn't be too difficult, but you never know what's going to happen. So I attempted to make the piece, and this is the simplest way to look at it. It's just a square, well, a rectangle, with this corner piece lifted up and then curved inwards like that. So the shrinker did curve this piece of metal, as you can see, to the point where it just started to destroy it. Now I tried to do this while I'd already bent this side piece across, because that's the easiest way to use it is on your 90-degree bends. But basically what I need it to do, really, is I need it to bend this line here first, then bend that piece of metal up. And basically this shrinker isn't going to do that. So I am going to have to come up with a different way to make what I want. And oh yes, as you can see, it doesn't work on painted surfaces. So if you've got paint still on the surface, it can't grip it. It just pulls all the paint off. So you must clean whichever piece of metal you want to shrink or stretch first. So back to the drawing board with how I'm going to create this one. We'll see what I can come up with. So this is what I came up with. I had to do it the way I didn't want to do it, but you know, I didn't have any choice. So we made the plate first, cut out the desired angle, and then welded in an upright piece. Yeah, just drop some tacks on it, doesn't really matter. Grind it down. You can see it had decent penetration through, and there we have it. If we take it over to the car, she will sit basically like that. And it's just another piece in. I think that's the actual last piece that goes on there. Yes, it is. It's the last piece that fits on there, and it's just a case of welding this, tidying this up, drilling a hole. There is a mark, like a swage mark in it. Yeah, look. That just is in there to knock that piece down that sticks out on top, because it's overlapped onto this piece and this piece, and that's literally all it does. It's just to make sure that basically that piece there is flat onto the body of the car, and as well as this piece as well. So yeah, so it mirrors basically, so it can get it as close to the body as the car as possible. It's just a terrible design, but what can you do? There you go, just knocked the bit that pans down in, and literally that I just did that by putting it in the vise there and literally tapping it from the back to push it in, so it dips in literally with the edge of the plenishing hammer. So now it should look even better. Yeah, so now it has like a little lip to sit on. Well, we could just do with flattening that bit down. Yeah, that bit just needs flattening down, and then it'll sit perfect. Right then. So there we go. I am super happy with how it's turned out. It's one of the best replicated panels that I've ever come up with. I mean, look at the flash rust coming back on this panel now. That's all going to need grinding back. Well, I'm going to grind this one side back anyway, because there's a bit of rust needs attention there. And obviously this piece of floor wants fixing, just like this piece did here. But yes, I am super duper happy with how this turned out. I got as many of the original panel shapes in as I possibly could. The only thing I think that could have made it better is if I had the dies so it could cast the holes like that, like the one inside. But yeah, that's it before paint anyway. And here we are. Now that it's finally painted. I don't think it turned out too bad at all. Yeah, I'll get the gun in there when I put the Gravitex on, and I'll throw the Gravitex nozzle in that hole as well. But yes, I think it's turned out well. I do not think that's bad at all. Compare it to Ford's one. Well, you can't really get down to it with the car at this angle. But yes, I think that looks absolutely perfect. So, thanks for watching. I've been Lee. This has been Retro Cars Reborn. Please subscribe. Please give us a share. Please give us a like. Drop me a comment. And yeah, perfectly happy with that. I think that's the best panel that I've made so far for any of the cars. So, tell me what you think. I'll see you in the next one.